What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today I wanted to talk about the AS VAL and its role in Warzone. Now the reason I decided to make this video specifically is in my gun guide I had mentioned that I don't feel like the AS VAL is a great primary weapon in general to use in Warzone, and I had a lot of people asking me why that is. And the primary reason is quite simply most of the primary guns that you would use within Warzone, it's typically going to be a gun that favors accuracy over anything else. This is why things like the Grau or the Kilo or the M13, those are really high on the list as far as meta guns to use as a primary weapon, and yet none of those three really stand out in the damage or the time to kill department at all. It's all about accuracy, and this is what tends to dominate the meta. And when we look at the AS VAL, it doesn't really excel in this area. Like sure, the recoil is quite controllable at close to mid-range, but if we're trying to stretch out beyond like 50 meters for instance, which you're often going to be doing in Warzone, the AS VAL just isn't a very good choice for you. Additionally, a big thing that holds the AS VAL back is quite simply its magazine capacity, combined with its insane rate of fire. At most, you can only get 30 rounds in a magazine with the AS VAL, and you burn through 30 rounds very, very quickly. So as soon as you start incorporating armor into the picture, as well as multiple enemies when we look in squad-based modes, the AS VAL just loses a lot of its consistency. Having said this though, I still think the AS VAL has a great place in Warzone, just not really as a primary weapon for squad-based modes. And the reason I specify squad-based modes here is I think it's actually a great gun to use in solos, as long as you're pairing it with something that's designed to excel at longer ranges, like a marksman rifle or a sniper rifle. If you run it with a combination like this in solo modes, I think it's great, because 30 rounds is more than enough to deal with a single enemy, even if they have full armor plates and stuff. You just need something paired with it that will allow you to challenge things at longer ranges. Additionally, if we're talking about squad-based modes, it can often be a good idea to pair this assault rifle with another primary sort of gun, like an accurate assault rifle, for instance. And then you basically treat the AS VAL as an SMG, even though it is using assault rifle ammo, and it is classified as an assault rifle here. Now, of course, the one downside of doing that is you're going to be using a shared ammo type, so you will burn through ammo quickly, but as long as you're slaying effectively and looting the bodies that you kill, that really shouldn't be an issue for you. Now, you might be wondering why you would use an AS VAL over an SMG, for instance, as a secondary weapon for close quarter situations. And the reason for this is the AS VAL is actually the fastest killing full auto gun in the entire game when 3 armor plates are equipped. That does assume you're hitting upper torso shots, but if we're talking about closer range situations where the gun really excels, then you should be able to hit those upper torso shots fairly often at least. But with this, you can see the chart here, the only gun that beats this in time to kill when you're dealing with 3 armor plates is the FAL, and that's also assuming upper torso shots, plus it's a semi-auto, so it requires a bit more skill to handle and use effectively. And it's not nearly as forgiving as well as the AS VAL, which has an extremely high fire rate, so the odd missed shot here or there isn't going to destroy your time to kill, whereas with the FAL, even just missing 1 shot is really going to increase your time to kill value. So yeah, at the end of the day, I'm definitely going to be incorporating the AS VAL into some of my Warzone loadouts, but it's not really going to take the top spot when it comes to a primary weapon for squad-based game modes. It's quite simply just not accurate or versatile enough to be using in a wide variety of situations, which is what's often demanded out of a primary weapon. Having said that though, this is an extremely powerful niche weapon that absolutely dominates everything from about 0 to 30 meters or so. And I should also mention, so far I've only been talking about the standard version of the AS VAL, not the SPP ammunition, which is the 10-round mag that you put in that turns the gun into a semi-auto and also gives you like infinite bullet penetration so you don't lose bullet damage through walls. What about that? Does that have a place in Warzone? And with this one, I've got to say, well, it might be kind of interesting, and if you pair it with a snapshot grenade, you might be able to make some cool things happen. I really don't think it's your best bet when it comes to a semi-auto assault rifle. I honestly think you're much better off with an FAL, and there are several reasons for this. First up, the FAL just deals a little bit more damage, which doesn't really affect core game modes, but when you start factoring armor into the equation, every little bit really helps and really counts in this area. Plus, the FAL is just more accurate and easier to control, and it has a larger magazine capacity. I find with the SPP rounds, there's actually a decent amount of recoil considering it is a semi-auto assault rifle, and you only get 10 rounds, which you can spam away pretty quickly. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily recommend the SPP ammo on the AS VAL. Like I said, you could definitely try it and make some cool things happen every now and then. Maybe you can find that situation where you have somebody camping in a corner in a house and you get that perfect snapshot grenade on them and then just light them up through a wall. That's great, but it's just not a very versatile gun. And that's really the only situation where that would really excel over something like an FAL, for instance. And with that, that pretty much covers my thoughts on the AS VAL in Warzone. Now that we've got a little bit more time to play with it, I'm loving it for solo game modes, and I love it as a secondary weapon. It's just not really going to take that top meta spot for me, at least. Now, since I did have a pretty good game here while I was streaming yesterday, I'm going to let the rest of the gameplay play out, although I might cut it in a few areas. I did want to address something a lot of people have been commenting on recently with especially my Warzone gameplay. A lot of people have been saying that it looks like I'm playing against bots, for instance, or my lobbies look way too easy. And I totally agree with you. These are definitely easy lobbies, and the reason I'm getting these easy lobbies is I'm honestly just not playing too much Warzone lately, or any Call of Duty. It's just reached that point in the year where I'm basically just playing it when I stream, and I found with the skill-based matchmaking system, it seems to reset your skill rank if you frequently take several days off in between gaming sessions. So if you go a week, for instance, without touching Warzone, your first couple games when you come back are most likely going to be super, super easy. So no, I'm not reverse boosting. I'm not trying to manipulate the system. I'm simply not playing as much as I used to. And therefore, when I do play, I tend to get a couple really easy games before I immediately get bumped up into the more difficult lobbies. But with that, I'd like to know in the comment section below, what do you guys think of the AS VAL in Warzone? Do you think it has a good place in Warzone? Do you like using it in Warzone? Or would you rather stick to the more typical meta guns? Just let me know those thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.
Gas is closing in. Only 5 remain. We'll secure the win next time.